Okay, so here we go with multiplying a polynomial by a monomial. When we consider the idea of monomial, mono means one, so monomial is normally going to be our term that is outside of the parentheses. When we look at number one, bells should be going off in your head, bing, ding, 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 ding. If they didn't, they at least just went off in this video. Number one is very similar to that of which we have done numerous times before. So, when we are looking at number one, we are going to try to get rid of the parentheses. We cannot combine the terms that are in the parentheses because 8x and 5 are not like terms, meaning they do not look the same, they do not sound the same, so on, etc., and whatnot. So, to successfully get rid of the parentheses, we must do what is called the distributive property. Dun, dun, dun. Distributing has been around since about week 1 of algebra with Miss Smith. It is something that is very important. When you distribute, you are evenly giving something to someone, evenly giving out money, if I had money to give. Or in this case, we are distributing the -3 evenly. So what we are going to do is use multiplication to complete this process. So we have to take -3 times 8, and we will arrive at a -24. When we consider the fact that there was an x being multiplied by 8, we cannot just get rid of it. We cannot say, skirt, we're done. Because that's not fair. That's really rude to the x. So we have to keep it as multiplication. So it's -24 times x. And sometimes you will discover that the x is going to change because we're going to be multiplying by more x's, which we will look at shortly. The next thing we have is -3 times a +5. -3 times a +5 gives us a -15. So we can write this as plus -15 if we like. For me, that looks way too much. So I'm going to simply write it as -15 because plus a minus is the same thing, or plus a negative is the same thing as minus. So either way works. Answer is either -24x plus -15. or -24x minus 15. So number 2 looks stressful because it is fractions. If you have participated in class, we have done this in class. If not, I will be more than welcome to help you. But I'm going to go ahead and skip to number 3 for the video's sake because to me, having more variables seems a little more scary than just having a fraction. Because you guys know I love fractions. Fraction love for life, right? Oh, right, wrong. So, we are looking at number 3, and we're going to use the same idea of the distributive property that we've been doing all year. So we're going to distribute the -7xy, or that's a +7, sorry. I was just making up imaginary. So 7xy times 5x squared. So for the sake of this particular activity, I'm just going to go ahead and write that out. So I'm going to put my whole numbers together. 7 times 5 times 1x with my 7 times 2 x's that were with my 5, and then times 1y with my 7. Now this is very long, so I want to go ahead and squish it together, and by squishing it together, that's where my exponents come from. 7 times 5 gives me 35. We have 3 x's, so we can write that as x cubed. And we only have 1 y. So our new term is 35x cubed y. We have only completed the first term of this polynomial being multiplied by a monomial. So I'm going to mark that out, and I'm going to distribute through the remaining of the problem. So I now have -7. I'm still stuck with the negative part. I have 7 times a -1, which will now make it a -7. So we have -7, 1x, and then we can add our exponents together to the y to get y cubed. Okay, so when we look at 4, 5, and 6, they now have more terms inside of the parentheses. So we are now multiplying a monomial to a larger polynomial, but we are still going to do the same thing. So I'm going to skip around again. I'm going to go to number 6. Looking at number 6, we are distributing 4m squared into the parentheses. So I'm going to multiply my whole numbers. 4 times 9 is 36. I have 2 m's with my 4, so I have m squared times m squared, which is going to result in an m to the 4th. And I only have 1 n, but I cannot just get rid of it, so it is still there. So the correct part of that distribution is 36m to the 4th n. And we're going to continue distributing evenly. So 4 times 1 would give us a plus 4 m cubed, because we have 1 m inside our parentheses and 2 outside. And then we're still going to have an n. The last thing that we have to multiply is 4 times a negative 5, so that gives us a negative 20. Multiplying our variables, we do not have a like variable, so we're just going to rewrite everything that we have. M squared, n squared. And that is everything for combining when we distribute with more than 2 terms inside of our parentheses. So we're going to go down here to number 8, because it looks a little more complicated, and realistically all it is 2 problems meshed into one. So right now we're going to take and we're going to look specifically at this half. We're not even going to pay attention to this. I wouldn't suggest to scribble it out on your paper, because you will need to pay attention to it in a minute. But looking at this, this is similar to what we did at the very beginning, just distributing one monomial through a binomial. So we have 2 times 1, which will give us a 2, and then we have b times b squared, which gives us b cubed. We're done with that first term, distributing to the next one. 2 times 8 is a positive 16, and we only have 1b, so 2b cubed plus 16b. We have completed the first half of distributing, and I didn't realize I touched the board. So now we're going to go ahead and uncover the second half and cover up the first half, which is easy for me to do on the whiteboard, but may not be so easy for you to do. If you need to, just take a piece of paper, cover it over, or your finger, or just look at the whole thing together. So we are going to distribute the negative 3b into these parentheses. We still have to pay attention to the sign. So a negative 3 times a positive 3 gives us a negative 9. b times b squared is b cubed. We have a negative 3 times a positive 9, so it's going to be negative 27. b times b is b squared. Now, because we had 2 different original problems, we want to look at this and see if there's any like terms. Here I have a 2b cubed. I also have a minus 9b cubed. So we can combine those for a negative 7b cubed. And then we want to do what is called a descending order with our exponents. So our highest exponent is cubed, and we want to look and see if we have the next lower, which would be squared. And we're going to just rewrite that as a negative 27b squared. And our final term is 16b. That is the completion of that problem. So we are going to go ahead, I know this is getting a little bit lengthy, but we are going to go ahead and do one of these that is a geometric problem, because we are having a lot of trouble with that when it comes to testing time. So it says find the area of a rectangle with the length of 4x squared and the width of x plus 6. For us visual people, I'm going to go ahead and draw that. The length is 4x squared, and the width is x plus 6. So I really actually almost got a pretty good square going on here, which is weird because I could never do that. So I'm going to say 4x squared, that's going to be my length, and then my width is x plus 6. Really, it does not matter when you're looking at a rectangle. The longest side is the length, and the shortest side is your width. in my case of my original drawing, it looks similar to a square, so that's why I kind of just picked where to do it. So to find the area normally equals length times width. So we're just going to plug our values into that formula. So we're going to have area equals, our length is 4x squared, times our width, x plus 6. And then we're going to treat it very similar to a problem like we did up at the top. It's only different now because it is involving a actual word problem. So we have 4 times 1 is 4, x squared times x is x cubed. We have to continue and distribute to our last term. So 4 times 6 is 24, so we have plus 24, and we only have the x squared, so it's the area of this particular rectangle is 4x cubed plus 24x squared.